Now, next thing I wanted to talk to you about, of course, is the Transmountain pipeline expansion that has once again been put on hold so that it can go through more legal wrangling. Apparently, 6 new appeals are going to be heard. And the main criticism, at least from me, is that the last time the pipeline was delayed, the court laid out, now agree or disagree with the court. Normally I tend to disagree with these appeals courts' decisions on pipelines, but they very clearly laid out to the Liberals what they needed to do to meet the criteria to avoid the pipeline being delayed again. And it sounds like they didn't do any of that. And they also didn't make any arguments for or against the pipeline. They just let the activists run the show. And whether or not you agree with the pipeline, certainly it's the government's role to protect the taxpayer investment in that pipeline. And they didn't do any of it. What do you think?
I think that it's very rude to call an election on September 11th.
Yeah.
I have honestly no response for this. We have an election coming up, and I'm going to stay nonpartisan like I always have. But what I will say is that this pipeline is in our national interest, and when you elect people to office and they take roles of like energy minister, attorney general, or whatever, and they get in those positions. Yep. And I understand that for a time period when you're running for elections, like partisan politics is just insane. But you want to know that those people have the best interest of the country at heart. And you really want to believe that they didn't just spend 7 point whatever billion dollars on I don't know what they paid for it. I mean, I hear different numbers, but it's
4.5 to start. Yeah.
To start. So, okay. So 4.5 to start, but I think they're projecting close to $7 billion. $4.5 billion, which is a lot of money, which is, which we need this pipeline. It's in the national interest. And you would think that after paying that pipeline and taking Kinder Morgan out of the equation, that this would be a priority and you would have your best lawyers on it. You would not be dropping the ball. There would not be a single T not crossed or an I not dotted. And I'm concerned. When you have such, like, we need this pipeline. This isn't a want. If we don't get this pipeline, what's going to happen is you're going to see Alberta like kind of collapse in time. Maybe not right away, but it will. It'll slowly start to fizzle. You're going to see more investment leave. You're going to see a lot of very, very angry Albertans. And I understand that parts of Canada are doing good economically. Well, that's really easy when you have a government borrowing money to prop it up. But we in Alberta need this pipeline, and long term, I would say 4 or 5 years from now, the rest of Canada will realize the importance of Alberta. I hope that it's if we don't get this pipeline and they try to do something, say in a few years, it'll be too little, too late. So now it boils down to which party can, I suppose, get a pipeline. And I'm completely sad that this isn't a priority. This has not been taken seriously. I don't know what's happening. I'm 41 years old. That's not my grinder age. And I'm blown away at the fact that this is not a priority. And we've been fighting this for quite a while, and mostly on our own dimes. We don't have some U.S. whatever organization, trust fund babies, whatever, giving us a check for $2 million so we can continue to do this. I'm doing the best I can with what I have, trying to keep my business going, advocacy in my spare time, and I'm terrified. I don't have an answer to this, but once again, when you have a government that's been elected, you hope that no matter what happens, that they have the best interests of our country at heart. And that pipeline is a big
deal. When you think about it, what the Liberals were willing to do for snc-lavalin, they were willing to literally break the law to do, a solid for a corrupt Quebec-based company, an engineering firm called snc-lavalin, an engineering firm that once bought hookers for Muammar Gaddafi's son and routinely brought him over to Canada to work on his English. They were willing to break the law, and yet when it comes to something that's in Alberta's best interest, but like you point out, in the best interest of the entire country, they couldn't even present a sound legal argument for or against to protect their investment. And they do have the ability to say that this is in the national interest and just build a pipeline. That's an excerpt from my weekly show, The Gun Show. It airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Each week, I bring you an informal interview with an interesting newsmaker or citizen activist you might not have heard of, but who is making a big difference in Canadian politics. And we'll talk about issues in a way you'll never see done in the mainstream media. To subscribe, go to therebel.media/shows.